Hello, I am Mr. P.J. Patil, lecturer in Sharad Institute of Technology, Polytechnic. Today, I am going to discuss about mechanical properties of the metals. Earlier in the last video, I have explained about the physical properties of the material. Now, we will discuss about the mechanical properties of metals. What is a mechanical property? First of all, a mechanical property of a material are those properties that involve a reaction to the applied load. Okay, whenever you apply any load, any force, then the reactions that has been generated inside the material, that we are going to observe. That may change the shape, size. There will be any structural changes inside the material that will lead to mechanical changes. That property we are going to discuss is a mechanical property. Mechanical properties of metal determine the range of usefulness of a material to establish the service life, and that can be expected. Okay, whenever you are designing something, you need to discuss, you need to understand the life of that part or life of that machine. For that you have to design it properly, and for that designing we need some data, and that technical data what we are required will be the mechanical properties. That means the usefulness range of that material will be provided by the mechanical properties. Mechanical properties are also used to help classify and identify the materials. Now, what are the different mechanical properties? Strength, stiffness, elasticity, plasticity, ductility, malleability, toughness, brittleness, hardness, fatigue, creep, machinability, formability, castability, weldability. These are the mechanical properties of material. We will discuss one by one. First of all, strength. Whenever you identify that there is some internal energy that is bonding the atoms, molecules inside the material, that bonding causes strength to that material. Strength of material is the ability to withstand external forces applied on it. Whenever you apply any forces on the material, that applied force will be absorbed by the material. Okay, and maximum amount of which will be strength. These forces causes distortion, resistance, and the resistance to this distortion is called strength. Okay, so earlier as I explained, the distortion that is causing because of the force, that distortion will be resisted by the material, and that factor is a strength. So what are the types of strength? Generally there are four types: tensile strength, compressive strength, shear strength, bending strength. First of all, we will discuss tensile strength. Okay, whenever you keep a rubber in your hand and you try to pull it, the elongated position will denote there is a tensile force in the rubber. Okay, that is tensile strength. The maximum amount of force that can be absorbed by that rubber will be strength of that material. That is tensile strength. Next is compressive strength. Okay, whenever you try to push from both sides on a material, okay, the force that has exerted by the hands on the material is a compressive force. Next is shearing strength. Okay, we can call shear strength. In shear strength, the resistance offered to shearing is a shear strength. Shearing means when the force is equal and opposite but not linear. Okay, here the force is acting on this side and is acting on this side in upward direction. Okay, It is somewhat different than compressive force, because in compressive force the force is equal and opposite but in linear direction. This may be equal and opposite but not linear. Then bending strength. Here material is bent, okay, and that will again regain to its original form after removing the force. That maximum amount of resistance offered before distortion is a bending strength. Next is stiffness. So stiffness is the extent to which an object resists deformation in response to and the applied force. Now consider a spring. Okay, whenever you applied a load, it will extend by this amount, that is we can call this a delta. So force F is applied to get the elongation delta. So earlier in strength we have discussed that the resistance offered to the deformation, but in stiffness the deformation actually takes place. But what happens? It resists deformation in response with applied force. So in stiffness is the extent to which an object resists deformation in response to an applied force. Means after removing the force, the material will regain to its original position. Looking forward for the difference between strength and stiffness, strength means hard to be broken and stiffness means hard to be deformed. Okay, means whenever you are going to exert more force, the material will break. Okay, means resistance to be deformed and resistance to be broken are strength and stiffness. Now consider example of a glass and spring. Glass will be having low strength, okay, but higher. Consider example of a glass and spring. Glass will be having low strength, okay, but higher stiffness. But in case of spring, the strength will be higher and stiffness will be low, okay, because glass is difficult to bend and easy to break, and whereas spring easy to compress or elongate but difficult to break. So this is having higher strength but low stiffness because it is getting easily deformed, but this is not getting easily deformed. It can be broken easily, so it is having low strength and higher stiffness, and this is having higher strength and low stiffness. Next is elasticity. It is ability of material to regain its original shape and size after the load is removed. The best example is a rubber. Okay, when you try to pull the rubber with both hands and after removing the force, the rubber will regain its original shape and size. Okay, that is called as a elasticity. The physical reasons for the elastic behavior can be quite different for different materials. Okay, in metals, the atomic lattice changes size and shape when forces are applied. That is, energy is added into the system. And when forces are removed, the lattice goes back to the original lower energy state. Okay, earlier in the first lecture you have observed the lattice structure. Okay, in that case, when the force is applied on a material, it changes its shape and size by means of changing the shape and size of atomic lattice. Okay, so energy is added into the atomic lattice, and then when force is removed, the lattice goes back to its original state. Okay, with lower energy, means energy is energy is emitted from the material while going back to original state. Okay, the best example is, take a small wire of a steel and try bending continuously at a same point. Okay, after few time you may observe that the region where you are trying bending many times will get heated, as a heat is evolved during getting back to original state. That means whenever lattice goes back to original state, energy is evolved. Next is plasticity. Plasticity, also known as a plastic deformation, is the ability of solid material to undergo permanent deformation, a non-reversible change of the shape in response to applied force. Earlier, in case elasticity, the material is going to original shape and size. Consider this example. Okay, when force is applied, the object will go to diagram number 2. Now, the position will be like this. In elasticity, after removing the force, it will regain to original shape. That means figure A. When the load is applied, the material will change, means undergo deformation, and when the load is removed in plasticity, it will not regain to its original shape and size. So the deformed shape will be as it is. This is called plasticity. Okay, so this is a stress strain diagram. Here you may observe that below region 2, okay, this portion point 1 to 2, from 0 to 1 is a pure elastic, from 1 to 2 is a elastic, and beyond 2 you may find that this region is a plastic region. Okay, next is ductility. It is the property of material which enables it to draw out into thin wires. Okay, whenever you try to pulling a metal rod, then what will happen? After a sufficient force, it will try to elongate. There will be a necking. This is ductility. Okay, for example, mild steel is a ductile material. The percent elongation and reduction in area in tension is often used as a empirical measures of ductility. Okay, so for brittle failure there is no ductility, because whenever you try to elongate that material, it will break. Okay, so for ductility, the material needs to be deformed elastically and plastically. Okay, so first of all, this is a elastic limit, and then this is a plastic limit, and after which, if the force is more force is exerted, there will be a strain hardening, and after which the material will be undergo failure. Okay, so this is a figure which illustrates this portion. First of all, this is a elastic deformation. When the force is removed, it will regain to its original shape. In case of plastic deformation, the shape will be as it is. Next, there will be a necking for further more force, and if the force is kept like that, then failure may occur. So copper bar is pulled through the die and its diameter is reduced to make a thin wire. This is called ductility, means copper wire is having the property of ductility. So this is the example of ductile material. This is a starting point. The material is held between the two wires and is pulled, force is applied, and there is a necking over this portion. Okay, so starting point to end point. Similar to ductile, there is a malleable. Malleability of material is ability to flatten into thin sheets without cracking by cold or hot working. Okay. For example, lead can be easily rolled and hammered into thin sheets but can be drawn into wire. Now ingot. Ingot is a material, observe in this figure, ingot is a material which is prepared in a casting process. Okay. When it is heated and passed through the number of rolls, it will be converted into thin sheets. So that material is having malleability. The materials without malleability and without ductility will not deform. They can easily break. So this is a process of manufacturing coin. By hammering this portion, the gold coin is produced. So gold is having malleability. But there is a big difference between ductility and malleability. Ductility and malleability are frequently used interchangeably many times, because ductility is a tensile quality while malleability is a compressive quality. That means for ductility, the force you are exerting on material in order to draw the material into wire, you need tensile force. But in case of malleability, in order to deform the metal into sheets, you require compressive force. So this is the difference between ductility and malleability. Next is toughness. Measure of amount of energy that a material can absorb before fracturing. Okay. So before fracture, the maximum amount of the material, maximum amount of energy that material can bear is a toughness. Energy absorbed per unit volume of material. Okay. Means toughness is the maximum energy absorbed per unit volume of material. Okay. So there will be some plastic and elastic deformation, means combination of sum of plastic and elastic deformation. Next property is a brittleness. So it is the property of breaking without much permanent distortion. Non-ductile material is considered as brittle material. Glass, cast iron. This is a figure. Okay. In this figure, this first figure is a material with ductile property, and this material is having brittle property. Whenever you try to pull this material, it will first elongate. Okay. Then it will break. But in case of brittle material, whenever you up to some portion up exerting the force, after exerting the force, the material will be, there will be no change in shape and size. But after some time, when the force is increased, the material will fracture directly without elongating. This is called brittleness. Next is hardness. So hardness is a fundamental property which is closely related to strength. Hardness is usually defined in terms of the ability of material to resist to scratching, abrasion, cutting, indentation or penetration. Okay. Diamond is the hardest material. Okay, as it is used as a cutter for machining hard materials. Methods used to determine the hardness are Brinell hardness tester, Rockwell hardness tester and Vickers hardness tester. Okay. So glass, diamond, these are having more hardness. Okay. And the metal with ductile and malleable property will be having low hardness. Next is fatigue. When stress is applied on material, then after certain time it becomes unfit as compared to new one. Okay, means stress is applied on the material. Okay, so consider this is a guitar string. Okay, there is no continuous force on that string. So what will happen? It occurs due to the repeated loading and unloading. This phenomenon leads to fracture under repeated or fluctuating stress. Means the strings are experiencing load periodically, and because of that they experience fatigue and undergo fracture after some time. Okay, fatigue fractures are progressive, beginning as minute cracks and grow under the action of fluctuating stress. Observe in this figure. Okay, so this is a granule surface and this is a rubbed surface. That means crack was originated, that means fracture was originated from this region. Initially the fracture was generated along this side. Okay, after some time, due to the fluctuating load, the fracture will propagate along this direction, and after some time this region will directly undergo fracture. Okay, next is machinability. Okay, the ease with which metal can be cut by permitting removal of material is machinability. Okay, or we can say ability of material by means of which material can be removed from the surface. Okay, this is machinability. Materials with good machinability requires little power to cut and can be cut quickly, easily obtain a good finish, and do not wear the tooling much. Okay, consider the example of cast iron and steel. Cast iron is a kind of a brittle material compared to steel. Steel is having ductile and malleable properties. Okay, so machinability is better for steel. Next, formability. Okay, here material which can deform into different shape and size without removing the material. That means we are exerting forces in order to deform the material but not to remove the material from surface of that material. Formability is the ability of a given metal workpiece to undergo plastic deformation without being damaged. Damaging in the sense there will be no removal of material in formability. The plastic deformation capacity of metallic materials, however, is limited to a certain extent, at which point the material could experience tearing or fracture or may breakage. Okay, so transverse bend and longitudinal bend. There will be two types of bending. Fracture and tearing may experience will be depend on the grain structure of material. If you are deforming the material along the grain structure, consider the grain structure is along this side. Okay, the grain structure is along this side, and if you are bending the material, it will oppose the deformation, but there will not be easy tearing or fracture. But if the grain direction is on this side and you are bending on this side, means the bend line is along the grain direction. Bend line is along the grain direction, due to which the material may experience tearing or fracture. Okay, next, castability. Casting is the process of manufacturing materials by means of melting and then pouring into molds, and after which they are cooled to get finished product. Castability is nothing but producing a casting with minimum cost, defects and time. This can be done by high compatibility between the product requirement and process castability, which means the material which can be melt, which can take the shape and size of the cavity that has been generated into the mold and can solidify, which is having low defects, while producing the casting is having a good castability. Cast iron is having good castability, and because of which it is known as a cast iron. Weldability. Weldability is the ability of any material, usually metals and its alloys, to weld with similar metals. Okay. Welding, which is having number of types in welding, material can be joined, then the material which is able to join another metal is having weldability. The next is creep. The slow and propagate deformation of material with time at constant stress is called as a creep. Earlier, in case of fatigue, there is a fluctuating load, but in case of creep, there is a constant load. Okay, and the fracture in both cases, as in fatigue and creep, occurs after some time. Okay, but in fatigue there is a fluctuating load, and in creep there is a constant load. Depending on temperature, stresses even below the elastic limit can cause some permanent deformation. If you are using the material at higher temperature, then deformation or fracture may cause earlier. It is most generally defined as time dependent strain occurring under stress. So important for some type of engineering design, particularly those operating on high temperatures. So creep is considered when the load is constant and the material is used for higher temperatures. So this is a primary creep, secondary creep and tertiary creep. Okay, this is a strain which is time dependent. You may get this curve initially. So from this figure it can be clear that tertiary creep rate is higher than primary creep rate, and primary creep rate is higher than secondary creep rate. That means initially when the creep starts, there is a moderate rate of creep, then there is a constant, almost constant rate for a secondary creep, and again after that the creep rate increases, which is a tertiary creep. Okay, and finally leads to fracture. This is for low temperature. The situation will be different for higher temperature, as the fracture will occur before time than this. Okay, now observe this point and this point. Okay, at higher temperature the fracture will cause earlier. So these are the mechanical properties of materials. Thank you.